Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. How's your heart today? Is your heart kind? How's your mind? Is your mind calm and clear? So if you haven't watched my video about worry, I'll put a link in the description below. And I'll also put a link in the description below. One from about 3 or 4 weeks ago titled, When's the Best Time to Meditate? Sit in Silence, okay? So the topic of this video is prayers and mantras and following your instincts. And what's tied into that is worry, okay? So in that video I made about worry, I talked about if a problem can be solved. If a problem can be solved, there's no use worrying about it. And if a problem can't be solved, worrying will do no good. And when's the best time to sit in silence? The best time to sit in silence is when you have a problem, not when things are going good. Although I do it every day. So I have this situation with my dog. He's going to be 6 years old in January 2026. He's a pit bull. And 2 years ago, he had an episode of pain. I heard him wincing a couple of times during the night. I sleep on my floor on a mattress here in the living room. He sleeps with me. So I heard him last year, it was in July, he was wincing a couple of times. And I thought maybe he's dreaming. Because sometimes he does that. I don't know if it's dreaming. There's the jury's out on it. So whatever happens when he's asleep, deep sleep, and he's kicking and doing that kind of stuff. So I heard him wince a couple times during the night, but he couldn't get up that morning. He couldn't get off the mattress. And when he tried to move, he was yelping. He was in a lot of pain. Back legs mostly. So I took him to a 24-hour animal hospital an hour away, and they checked him out. He said he has some arthritis. They weren't exactly sure, but he had pretty good mobility when they do the exam, and flexes paws and legs and ankles. So they gave him some anti-inflammatories and a shot for pain. So he was good until 2 weeks ago. So not this past weekend, the weekend before. I took him out to the field here about 10 minutes away on Saturday, not this past weekend, the Saturday before. Took off his leash and he started doing whizzies in this field. Now have you seen a dog do whizzies in a house? Like how big the room is? He was going like 50 feet out full trot, then 50 feet back, turned around. So that Saturday he did one of those. And I'm just standing there like, wow, where did this burst energy come from? And he was okay. And I took him out Sunday afternoon in the same spot, and he did 3 of those whizzies. 50 feet out, whizzy. Turn around, 50, and he was galloping like a horse at the Kentucky Derby. I have this dog a little over 5.5 years, and I never saw him run that fast. Whizzies, as fast as a dog could run. 50 feet this way, 50 feet back, 50 feet this way, 50 feet back, 50 feet this way, 50 feet back. I said, hey, stop. Because of what happened to him last year, I wasn't really sure what that was all about. It was good Sunday. He slowed down a little bit Monday. I could tell he wasn't himself, and he slowed down again Tuesday. This is last week. And then Wednesday morning, he couldn't get out of bed. So I had some medications left over. I called his vet. I said, I have these medications left over from last year's incident. So I started giving him those, and he perked up to his old self. But then he started to slow down yesterday, Sunday, or Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday, Monday. Today's Tuesday. So he started to slow down yesterday. I noticed it. He couldn't jump in the van and jump out of the van like he normally does. And then today he couldn't get out of bed. So I had one of the anti-inflammatories left. I gave it to him, and I called the vet, told her he was doing good. Now he's, can't get out of bed. He got up and then sat right back down. So I gave him a Novox, which is the anti-inflammatory, and I called her. I said, I just gave him that. That'll take an hour to kick in. And she said, well, I can get some for you. She lives a little bit away from here. I'll order them and then I'll call you, she said. I said, okay. So I got off the phone with her, and I have this book of mantras, and there's a book in there, please help my precious animal, with health, help their health. So I used them all beads. There's 108 beads, and I start here, and I say the mantra 108 times. So I got off the phone with my vet, and I've been saying this mantra now for a while every day, and I started saying the mantra 108 times. Help my dog. My dog needs help. So I got done. What did I do when I was done? What did I do when you could call it a prayer, a mantra. What did I do when I was done? Well, I didn't turn the TV on. I don't play video games, but I didn't play video. I didn't do anything, is my point. I sat there in silence. I said the mantra. I lifted that request up, help my dog, and I sat there in silence. I talk about transcendence in a lot of my videos. When you get to a point in your spiritual journey that you exist and experience above the normal level, you exist and experience above the physical level, you become receptive. When you make conscious contact with a higher power, you become receptive. So you put your request in, whether it's a prayer or a mantra. But you have to sit there. You can't turn on the TV. You can't start playing video games. If you say your prayers and you're all nervous, don't go in the kitchen and start eating all kind of food. Don't start watching pornography. Don't go gambling. If you have a problem that can be solved, worrying is no use. If you have a problem that can't be solved, worrying will do no good. So you do your petition and sit there in silence and become receptive for the answer. I can tell you how that answer comes. When I say a prayer or a mantra, I tell myself, even to this day, the answer isn't going to be anything like I could imagine an answer could be. Like, God's not going to write me a note, okay? I'm not going to get a letter in the mail from my guru on how to solve this problem. I'm talking about making a conscious contact with your higher power through that prayer, through that mantra, and then sit in silence. It is in that silence you become receptive. What happens next, Johan? I'm sitting there in silence and I become receptive. What happens next? I'll tell you what happened this morning. I did the 108 mantras, please help my animal, and I sat there in silence. And I thought, well, my vet can get me pills tomorrow, I think she said, or it might take till Friday, depending on when she could get them in, because she didn't have them. I said, okay, I could wait till Friday. Anti-inflammatories, I know they work. I just sat there in silence. And I got this intuition, this thought. Why don't you call the animal hospital up and talk to them, the one you took him to last year when he had that episode of pain. Just call them and describe what happened. If you don't know me, mostly because of my military service and the job I had to do, I had to pay attention to a lot of details and memorize them. So I had this intuitive thought, and I called that hospital. I said, here's what's going on with my dog. And I described it, what was going on the last week and a half. And they said, bring him down. Bring him down. I said, okay. I'm waiting for this Novox pill to kick in. As soon as he goes across the street, he's able to get up, I'll give you a call and I'll come down. So half hour later, 45 minutes, he got up out of bed, went to across the street to do his business. We hopped in a car and drove down. I'm following my intuition. I did the mantra. I did a prayer. I made the request and sat there in silence, and then I had an intuitive thought. If you're in the 12-step program, it tells you this in step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. It says in there, read it in the big book. An intuitive thought or idea. And I followed it. So I spoke to a doctor when I got down there, and I described in detail what happened. I said he picked his back leg up. We know he has an issue with that once in a while. But then it was like he didn't have strength in his legs, other 3 legs, to hold him up, which that's different from last year's event. He was able to walk on 3 legs while he held that one leg up. This year he can't. I described everything. She said, was he ever tested for Lyme disease? I said, no. So he got tested for Lyme disease, and he's positive for Lyme disease, and I got medication for him. And he'll feel better, is what the doctor told me. In a couple of days, he'll be good. And I got some of the Novox in case he has pain episodes again. I'm on my way home thinking, what am I going to tell my vet now? I'm pretty sure she ordered that medication already. And she told me she'd call me back. So I said, talk to her when she calls you back and tell her what happened. I got home from the animal hospital, and I wasn't home 15 minutes, and she called me and asked me how much he weighs. She needs to know that before she orders the medication. So I told her everything that I just told you. I went to the animal hospital emergency room, and he's diagnosed with Lyme disease. And I got the medication, antibiotics and anti-inflammatories. And she said, well, you're set then. I don't have to order them. and he'll feel better. The vet told me this as well. In a couple of days after he has the antibiotic treatments, he'll feel better. There was a time I'd have been on my way home thinking of lies to tell my vet so I wouldn't hurt her feelings that I went to the emergency room. Decades ago, that's how I used to think. All right? I don't exist and experience life that way anymore. And it all worked out. It all worked out. If you have a problem, if you could solve it, worrying is no use. If you can't solve it, worrying will do no good. If you're going to pray about your problem or say a mantra, same thing, send that request up like I did. My dog needs help for his health. Please help this special animal, one of God's creatures. You don't get up and turn on a TV. You don't start playing video games. You don't go to the kitchen and start feeding your face. You don't turn on pornography. You don't start worrying. You don't, oh, I got to get to the NA or AA meeting. Oh, my poor dog. You don't do anything like that. If your reliance is on a power greater than yourself after you make the request, you sit there and become receptive. Sit there in silence. You will get an intuitive thought and an idea and follow your intuition in quiet. But once you introduce all these outside things, noise, video games, food, whatever it is, you're not receptive. Oh, I got to go to the meeting and tell them what happened. You're not receptive. Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. And not just that. Make it an amazing life. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of life you're going to have. So why not have a good life? I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. Johan out. Peace.